spirit.
NBA free agency is underway, and we've got news coming in, and it's from the player on Twitter. Goran Dragic tweeting out, "I'm glad that I can announce that I'm staying with my Heat Nation family. Let's finish the job we started." Dragic, of course, had a great run in the bubble, averaging 19 points, 4 dimes, 4 rebounds before that injury as the Heat went to the NBA Finals to lose to the Lakers. For more on the Heat, let's bring in Tim Legler and Richard Jefferson here on SportsCenter. So they make that surprise run inside the bubble to the Finals. Legs, how is this team now positioned to go deep into the playoffs again next season?
Well, listen, I think you come back from an experience like that, you're a much more confident team. I think they went farther than they really thought they could at the beginning of the postseason. And now you've got a team coming back with some seasoning on it. You've got some guys that found out the deeper you got into the playoffs, it got a little bit harder. Tyler Hero, it became a little bit harder as you got into that round with the Los Angeles Lakers, and he became a target of opposing defenses. Bam Adebayo, the same. These are guys now coming back, are going to be much more confident players. And the Miami Heat think now they're in the mix in the East, but they're also, at the same time, keeping an eye on Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's no doubt, no question they're going to make a run at him next summer. They're hoping that that's going to be the plan, but in the meantime, they're going to retain their parts. And I thought this was the best basketball I'd ever seen Goran Dragic play. We know how close his relationship is with Jimmy Butler. The Miami Heat are very happy and content with what they have, and they wanted to reward Goran Dragic, and they think they're firmly in the mix to get back to the finals.
Yeah, no, I agree with Tim. Look, when you look at this NBA Finals, that was the injury that people pointed out to that really probably shifted this series and just made it very, very difficult for them to overcome. Goran Dragic is so important, and one of the things they talk about is like a player that knows how to play Miami Heat basketball, and he's one of those guys. He understands the work ethic. He understands the way they play. He understands how to be a great vet. So getting him back and re-signing him, I think it was really, really key to the Miami Heat future.
They're spending money. According to Bobby Marks, it's a 2-year deal. That second year is an option. They also just re-signed Myers Leonard, reaching a deal with him 2 years. According to Adrian Wojnarowski. All right, let's go to the big news, of course, this week, and that is Klay Thompson and that injury, suffering the Achilles, done for the season. The Warriors are in the process of now making their first move to fill in for that injury, and they are about to acquire Kelly Oubre. RJ, what more can the Warriors do to replace Klay here? Because you can't do it just with Oubre.
No, but you also can't. You still have Klay Thompson, so you can't try and go get too much. I think Kelly Oubre is a great, great player. I think he has an opportunity to continue improving. We look at the jump that he made from leaving Washington and going to Phoenix, and the jump he made there. So to have him on this roster kind of as an intermediate guy that either they could keep, because remember, the success that they had before they brought in Kevin Durant was a ton of versatile, smaller players. So if you're able to add Kelly Oubre, and then one day when Klay Thompson can get healthy, hopefully soon, now all of a sudden you start to look like that 73-win team.
Yeah, look, this is a team, and I agree with Richard. I think this is a team that is still a playoff team in the West. You can't label them a title contender, I don't believe, without Klay Thompson. But the bottom line is you're getting back a 2-time MVP with a lot to prove. Stephen Curry, I believe in his greatness. I believe in what he does to make the game easier for other people because of his presence. So as a result, you're going to see Andrew Wiggins, I think, do things in a motion offense where the ball moves. They demand a high IQ for the game. I think he's going to have his best year. Maybe not statistically, but I think the way that we view him as an efficient scorer, he's going to have a great year. Kelly Oubre is a guy that's going to get a great opportunity with Klay out. He can put up numbers. So you've got the wing scoring filled with those two guys. You've got a 2-time MVP coming back. You still have Draymond Green. And then you've got James Wiseman in the middle. In a lot of years, he would have been the #1 pick in the draft. He's a rim protector, but he's much more than that. He's a good offensive player. You can throw it into him in the post if you want to play that way, a couple possessions at a time. He can make a mid-range jump shot. And again, that starting five, I think, built around the movement and motion and shooting ability of Steph Curry, is a playoff team in the Western Conference. They've got to shore up their bench, though, if you want to take them seriously to win a round, potentially. But now they basically go into suspend mode for another season, waiting for Klay Thompson. I don't think you've seen the last of the Golden State Warriors as a championship contender. It just won't be this year.
All right, Oubre, by the way, averaged 19 points per game. He shot 35% from three. When you look at the numbers, they're trending up for this young man. We'll see how this plays out in a new offense with Golden State. These guys aren't going anywhere as we continue this hour on SportsCenter. Sage?
Pete Steele and Kevin Nagundi.
And we're off. NBA free agency is underway as of right now, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Let the chaos begin. We begin with the Bucks, who can make Giannis the $220 million man by offering him a 5-year supermax deal. The reigning two-time MVP would have until December 21st to agree to it or become an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. How about Anthony Davis? Probably not going anywhere, but he's also not in any rush to re-up with the Lakers. AD plans to wait through at least Thanksgiving before agreeing to a new deal. Enes Kanter, he is heading back to Portland as the Celtics are sending the 7-footer to the Blazers as part of a 3-team trade that also involves the Memphis Grizzlies. Kanter going back to Portland, I should say. And we the North heading south. How about that, as the Raptors will leave Toronto behind to play their home games in Tampa to start the season due to COVID-19 restrictions in Canada. And that is how we begin our Friday afternoon on SportsCenter. We are excited for the next hour. By the way, do not worry. Adrian Wojnarowski, he is right over there. He is primed and ready. He's with us live for the next hour on SportsCenter.
And the battery is charged. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to a very busy 60 minutes. Fun times in front of us. Stephen A. Smith, Tim Legler, Richard Jefferson standing by, ready to join us. But we first begin with the biggest names who can start negotiations as the free agency window is now open in the NBA. Anthony Davis headlines the 2020 free agency class, coming off his first season with the Lakers and winning an NBA championship. Along with Davis, Brandon Ingram is the other free agent who seems sure to get a max deal this summer after making his All-Star debut in his first season in New Orleans. And I say this summer, that means this fall, because we are less than 5 weeks away from the season. Other notable free agents in this class including Gordon Hayward and Fred VanVleet. NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski, as promised, joining us now. So a year ago, and it was last summer, very active. Of course, this is very different times. What kind of activity are we expecting tonight as well heading into the weekend?
Yeah, this isn't going to look like the Kawhi Leonard free agency, Paul George trade. It's not going to look like that necessarily tonight. And I think you'll see the deals maybe not come as quickly as last year. This isn't a free agency period with a lot of cap space, and there's not a lot of incentive around the league to spend a great deal of money, given that there's not fan revenue right now in the pandemic. But we're going to see things get rolling tonight.
We do have star power, though, and let's start with the defending champs. That is the Lakers, and Anthony Davis, officially a free agent now, but he isn't expected to go anywhere. What more can you tell us about this window?
Yeah, I'm told, Kevin, he's going to wait at least through Thanksgiving, and before he starts to really engage with the Lakers about what kind of a deal he's going to do. He will be back with them. You know, one option for him is to do a 3-year deal with an opt-out after the second year. That would line him up contractually with LeBron James. They obviously share the same agent, Rich Paul. He'll be back with the Lakers. It's just a matter of how long does he go with his deal out of the gate here.
One fascinating backstory is Gordon Hayward. He declined that $34 million option that final year with the Celtics yesterday. What more can you tell us about his future and his decision?
It's still pretty wide open, and he's pretty open-minded still about a lot of places, including going back to Boston. It's not out of the question he could, despite the fact that he opted out, that he could re-sign with them. Indiana has talked with Boston. Obviously, he is from Indianapolis. You know, that's appealing, but there's still a lot of destinations through the sign and trade market. He can get a long-term deal with a team that doesn't have cap space by working with his agent, Mark Bartelstein, and the Celtics, where they can get some players back. And there are still a lot of sign and trade scenarios I'm told Hayward is open to around the league. And so we'll see how that plays out here today, maybe into tomorrow. You know, it'll be interesting to see how quickly that resolves itself. The Knicks have the cap space and the interest to sign Gordon Hayward.
All right, keep that in mind. The Knicks, they have plenty of cap space. The Hawks have plenty of cap space. We'll see how this plays out. And Woj is already back to business with the phone. Sage, to you.
All right, Kevin, how about the Greek Freak? Once again, Giannis has some attractive options available. Again, he can sign a 5-year Supermax deal this offseason or next at over $45 million per season. Should he take a Supermax from another team next offseason, it would be just a 4-year deal at about $36 million per year, and that is significantly less. We're joined now live on SportsCenter by Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A., you know how much Giannis could get from Milwaukee, $228 million over 5 years. So in your opinion, what should he do? Should he sign that Supermax with the Bucks or not?
Well, I'm going to always encourage somebody to take the money. Let's get that straight, Sage. You're talking about an excess of $70 million that he would be passing up if he didn't sign with Milwaukee. So we understand that. Now, obviously, a consultation or a consolation prize, rather, would be him going to a place that has no state income tax, meaning Florida or Texas. That would basically mean Miami. But I doubt that will happen. In the end, here's the big thing to peel from this. Bogdanovich, you thought you had him. But ultimately, they messed that up, because now they're being investigated for tampering charges, and that deal has fallen through. That guy can play. He is going to be somebody that adds something to the equation. Now, if he goes to Atlanta, you have nothing to worry about. But let's say, for example, somehow, some way, the Lakers are able to get their hands on him. Maybe in a sign and trade, something along those lines involving Kyle Kuzma. Then you've buffered the Lakers roster, and you've basically eliminated any chance of Milwaukee winning a championship. I'm certainly not saying that will happen, but those are the kind of things that have been discussed over the last couple of hours. In the grand scheme of things, Milwaukee is good. They're one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference, but do we look at them and pencil them in as champions eventually? No, we do not. And that is the kind of thing you wanted to make sure you put yourself in position to be, so you can ensure re-signing Giannis. Now that that's not the case, I don't know what to make of it, because Giannis isn't talking to anybody. We presume that he will ultimately sign with Milwaukee, but we simply don't know.
Again, the addition of Drew Holiday, a good one, but is that enough for Giannis to make his decision to stay? So we'll see what he does as he stays quiet right now. Meantime, another star who recently made a big decision is James Harden, and he turned down that 2-year, $103 million extension from the Rockets. Woj reporting that his sole focus remains on the Brooklyn Nets. As for the Nets, their GM Sean Marks, he was asked earlier today about whether or not he would mortgage the team's future for a star player. Stephen A, here's his answer.